If you are a sensitive person and you overthink a lot, if you constantly feel like you're not good enough in relationship, if you have a big fear of being alone or being abandoned, then you might be anxiously attached person. And this video is for you. In this video, we are talking about how can we self-soothe ourselves, not just in a moment when we get triggered and anxiety hits us, but also how can we sustain that security we feel within ourselves for a long run. So what is self-soothing? Self-soothing is basically just a way to calm yourself down when you're feeling anxious or stressed. For example, you might feel anxious when you notice a change in your partner's tone of voice or behavior, when he takes longer to text you back, or when you feel like you're being unnoticed or you're being ignored. If you're someone with anxious attachment style, these are the situations that triggers lots of feelings. And that's where self-soothing technique comes in. They help you calm down and regain your sense of balance before everything starts to feel too overwhelming. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to check out the video that I uploaded last week, which is about attachment style, but mainly focused on anxious attachment style. And I will be referring to that video a lot. And this video is a follow-up video, so it will give you clearer understanding of what we are diving into today. As an anxious person, when we get triggered or when our attachment system is activated, we feel this strong urge to make things right because we don't feel safe until everything is okay. So when there's disagreement or there is change in your partner's tone of voice or behavior, we automatically think we did something wrong. We don't even take into account that maybe our partner is going through something that doesn't even have anything to do with us. And in those moments when we are getting triggered, we think like a child because the child within us doesn't feel safe. And that's when we crave security from our partner even more. The more they pull away, the more we want to be close with them. But the thing is, the security that you're seeking from your partner can be provided to you by yourself. Instead of constantly looking at your partner for reassurance, start turning inward. Recognize that your inner child needs comfort. And as an adult, you can step up and show up for that part of you. Think about how an adult would calm a distressed child. Approach the situation with same care and give yourself the comfort you need instead of relying on someone else to do it for you. Because others might not know exactly what you need in that moment or might not be in the right headspace to show up for you. But you can always show up for yourself in a way you need because you are your person and you know exactly what's going on in your head. I like to self-soothe myself in front of mirror. That way I can directly talk with myself. And I like to sit cross-legged and hug myself while talking with myself. And while I'm there, I talk with myself in a comforting way. Remember, you're talking with your inner child. Ask her, why are you feeling this way? What do you need at this moment? And then comfort yourself. Most of the time when you're getting triggered, it's always about how your inner child is not feeling safe enough, how your inner child is not feeling loved enough, how your inner child is not feeling seen and appreciated enough. That's why you need to reassure your inner child by comforting her with loving and kind words. Okay, this is one of the demo. When I'm stressed, I hug myself and I say things like, hey, it's okay. I'm here with you. I love you and I got you and I will never let anything bad happen to you. Even when things doesn't seem like it's going the right way, the way we want, I'm still here with you. You're safe with me and I'm not going anywhere until you feel safe. I keep comforting myself with these loving, kind words until my inner child feels safe and loved and seen and heard. Sometimes I even kiss my shoulder or my hand just to show myself that care and love. Everyone has their own way of soothing their inner child. Some people like to wrap themselves in a cozy blanket. Some people like to light up the candle. Some people like to journal. Whatever way feels best for you, the key is to make sure that you're connecting and conversing with your inner child. There are tons of video out there on how to self-soothe. But one thing that people don't often talk about is while watching comforting movies and listening to music might seem like a helpful way to soothe yourself, they can actually distract you from actually connecting and conversing with your inner child. Surely they might feel good in the moment, but they're not actually addressing what's going on deep down. It's like you're distracting yourself instead of actually dealing with the real issue. Think of it like this. Imagine child is crying because they have some discomfort. But instead of addressing what's bothering them, you give them toy to distract them. The discomfort doesn't go away. It gets worse later on. But once you've taken time to soothe yourself, I definitely encourage you to go ahead and watch those Disney movies, dance around, play, sing, listen to music, because that's exactly the kind of things that makes your inner child happy and that makes you joyful as well. Now that we've talked about the technique to self-soothe yourself in a moment, let's talk about the ways you can build the security within yourself and also the ways to self-regulate your emotion in time of dispute, which is way more important. I feel like building a security within yourself is something that needs to be implemented again and again. But with time, it gets easier and easier until it becomes natural. So here are the few things that you can do to feel secure within yourself. 1. Forming a secure base within yourself. Secure base within yourself comes with bonding with yourself, by connecting with yourself. And this doesn't have anything to do with anyone else other than you, not even your partner. This is about building self-confidence, self-worth, and self-respect. And to do that, positive inner dialogue, self-compassion, and boundaries are absolutely necessary. Our brain is always talking. There are always voices in our head. But try to notice how these voices are talking with you. Are they filling you with doubt, fear, and negativity? Or are they encouraging you and supporting you? Positive inner dialogue has been one of the greatest change that I have brought upon myself. And it has not only greatly impacted the way I see myself, but also the way I expect to be treated. I treat myself with love and respect, and I expect people to treat me the same way. I honestly believe the way you talk to yourself changes the way you experience life. One of the main causes of anxious attachment style is having low self-esteem and low self-worth. And no matter how lame you think it is, positive affirmation has a capacity to change that. Another thing to consider is self-compassion. Self-compassion is deeply tied to the way we talk to ourselves, but especially in the challenging moments. I don't know if you guys have seen these videos where this model falls down while walking in a fashion show because they've got these big heels. But instead of being embarrassed about it, they actually get up and start walking like a boss. That is what we find attractive. That is what we admire. The courage to handle yourself with grace, resilience, and emotional maturity even after setbacks. I'm pretty sure when they fall, they're not telling themselves, oh, I'm so stupid. They're probably encouraging themselves to get up and keep going. And that is self-compassion. The way we speak to ourselves in moments of difficulty sets the tone for how we experience that situation or life itself. When we face struggles, we have a chance to handle that situation with self-love or self-doubt. Lastly, you gotta start setting boundaries. Setting boundaries for self-love means saying no to things that harms you. That can be saying no to how people talk to you, how people treat you, or even the negative self-talk that you give to yourself. Saying no to the way you self-sabotage, by doubting yourself, by neglecting your value and needs. It's saying no to anything that makes you feel like you deserve less than what you actually do. Once you start setting boundaries with yourself, it will get easier to set boundaries with others. Because if you are not going to accept something that harms you from yourself, why would you accept it from someone else? Setting boundary is a way you show self-respect to yourself. And when you do that, others will too. Now, you might be wondering, how do we apply this in relationship? When anxious people feel like their relationship is being threatened, that's when they get triggered. And as I talked in my last video, until you're reassured, you cannot be soothed from this anxiety. But since you have built a secure base within yourself, you can give that reassurance to yourself. You should understand. When you're in needy state, usually you're looking for something from someone else that you haven't given to yourself. Having a healthy relationship with yourself full of self-love, self-respect, and a strong sense of self-worth means you're becoming secure within yourself. Over time, with practice, this will become natural to you as well. And this will shift your attachment style from anxious to secure. Another thing is, when you've created secure base within yourself, you will no longer tolerate unacceptable behavior from anyone, including your partner. If the relationship is not serving you, you will have a strength to walk away because you no longer fear abandonment. Because deep down, you know you can never be abandoned because you've got yourself. So if you want to learn more about how to build security within yourself while being in a relationship, I've made a whole video about it. So make sure you check it out just up there or on the description down below. Okay, number 2, sense of individuality in relationship. Anxious people, especially when you're in relationship with someone avoidant, tend to mold themselves in relationship. It's like you're not you anymore. You're someone else's wife or girlfriend. You start neglecting yourself, your passion, and the things that used to matter to you. And even if you're with secure partner, you start to get too comfortable and take your relationship and your partner for granted. A classic example, which is so common amongst couple, is that if you're someone who used to love working out, eating healthy, taking care of your body, you don't do that anymore just because you're in relationship, is a sign that you are devaluing yourself. You're not as important just because you got into relationship. Why is that? Your value doesn't rely on your relationship or your partner, but yourself. Your partner can leave you any second, but you cannot leave yourself no matter what. And that is why the relationship that you're gonna have with yourself is so important than any other relationship that you're gonna have with anyone else. To avoid losing yourself in relationship, you need to start showing up for yourself in a better ways. And on the contrary to what lots of people believe, maintaining your sense of self doesn't mean you're neglecting your relationship. In fact, you can show up in relationship in your most authentic way, which means your bond with your partner is gonna be even more stronger. And you will feel more fulfilled in relationship because you're not pretending to be someone else. And this is a way you make your relationship interesting as well. If you find your relationship boring or start to be monotonous, do something that you love individually without your partner and encourage your partner to do the same. Without giving each other time to grow individually, without spending time apart from each other, you are both missing out on how missing your partner feels like. And that is when people start to take each other for granted. Having a sense of individuality also helps you deal with the fear of abandonment, because you wouldn't look at such situation as abandonment. You will look at it as incompatibility. When you have your own life, you're doing the things that matters to you outside of relationship problem won't feel as overwhelming. You're not attached to relationship to the point it feels like life or death situation. And that balance helps you value and respect yourself even more. You won't tolerate being treated poorly, and when you're triggered, you are better equipped to show up for yourself and communicate your need more clearly. And with that being said, let's talk about communication. Number 3, communication. It is so true when people say communication is key to relationship. As I mentioned in my last videos, anxious people are assumer. They've got this crazy superpower of imagining things, which is super creative. But unfortunately, most of the time it's worst case scenarios. And this is why we suffer. I used to be like that too. I used to assume people could read my mind. And people should understand me without me saying anything to them. And I would imagine all the things that could go wrong and get triggered even before anything happened. When I started connecting with myself and loving myself, I realized by not communicating, I was not just sabotaging my relationship, I was sabotaging myself as well. By not speaking up, I was letting people cross my boundaries. And I was assuming all the things without clarity. I would get triggered not because my partner was speaking to me in a certain way, but because I was not asking him why was he talking to me in that way. Because most of the time it turned out it had nothing to do with me. By communicating, I realized not everything in relationship is because of me. And not every problem means our relationship is about to end. I stopped assuming I did something wrong when my partner was not doing the best. And I started showing up for him and supporting him instead of getting caught up in my own insecurities. Communication also helped me set boundaries with clarity. And it gave us room to talk things through. And instead of feeling resentment because we were assuming things, we actually got to work things out. And this deepened our connection even more. It is so freaking hot. I'm taking you guys inside. Don't mind me sweating like crazy. Okay, how do I communicate with my partner? When something bothers me in relationship, instead of lashing out on my boyfriend, I choose not to react in the moment. And that is probably why we've never had a big argument or fights in our relationship before. And that's why I don't really like when people say, if couples say they don't fight, they're lying. They're not. And we're living proof of that. And I just don't like how we normalize fights in relationship. Why don't we start normalizing civil, respectful conversation instead? We've never fought in relationship, but that doesn't mean we haven't had a big disagreements. We've had disagreements to the point that we thought we might not be compatible for each other, to the verge of breaking up. And because I respect my boyfriend and I trust him to understand me when I'm communicating with him gently, I don't see a point of screaming at each other's face. And honestly, that is one of my boundaries in relationship. I don't want to be talked that way. If someone talks to me that way, I don't want to be in relationship with them because that is so disrespectful. And I respect myself enough to not tolerate when someone speaks to me and treats me that way. When I communicate, I'm open for discussion because I care about our relationship more than having a need to be right. When we talk, we're both open to hearing each other's perspective. And that's when communication turns to understanding and not argument. This way of communicating deepens your connection, not disrupt it. One thing that I like to do before I communicate with my partner if something is bothering me in relationship is to journal. Journaling helps me clear out the reason why I feel certain way. Did my partner cross my boundary? Did he make me feel like I'm less than what I am? Or am I just emotional because I'm about to get my monthly? Can I self-soothe myself and make myself feel better? Or is this something, if I don't communicate with my partner now, can bring bigger issue later in our relationship? Once I've validated my emotion and cleared out the reason, then I communicate. The thing is, you are gonna be the first person that you go to when you're struggling. That's the mindset that you need to have. This way I don't confuse my partner and I can talk about exactly what bothered me and why. I also make sure the conversation is starting with appreciation. I start conversation by letting him know I see and appreciate all the good thing that he does for me. This is a way I'm letting him know I value him, even though we're having some tough conversation. This is a reminder that one issue doesn't define him as a person, or one issue doesn't define our whole relationship. Plus, when you appreciate someone, they release oxytocin, meaning your partner is less likely to get defensive when you communicate. Another common struggle in relationship is setting boundaries. This is something that I have to remind myself constantly as well. After you journal, if you have a fear of communicating, it is so crucial to remind yourself that if you don't set boundaries right now just to avoid conflict or just to keep your relationship going, you are sabotaging yourself and your partner as well. Without communicating your boundaries and need, your partner will not understand you. And he has to play a guessing game now. He might get it right, he might not get it right. And you guys will keep having this friction in your relationship just because of one issue of not communicating. And honestly, I think this is the reason why lots of men think women are complicated, because we don't communicate enough. You are the one who needs to guide your partner to show him that how he needs to show up in relationship to make you feel loved. And same goes for him. Everyone's different. Everyone has different needs. The way I feel loved might not be the way you feel loved. That is why it is so important to communicate what kind of action or gesture would make you feel loved in relationship with your partner. And you should be willing to understand his needs as well. You two are two different people and both of you might feel loved in different ways. This is a way you ensure that both of you feel loved and valued in relationship. So this is it, guys. Self-soothing is all about having a sense of security within yourself. Whether you're in relationship or not, having that security builds confidence, love, trust, and respect within yourself. And that is the most empowering thing you can experience. When you know deep down whether you're with someone or not, you're worthy, that's a game changer. You don't need someone else or something else external to validate your worth. You're already good enough, you're worthy of love, respect, and most amazing relationship as well. Starting with the one you have with yourself. With that being said, I will end this video here. I hope this video was helpful and insightful. And if you haven't watched my previous video, I highly encourage you to do so, because I've covered a lot, like what is anxious attachment style, why do we feel anxious, how do we get triggered, and who we are most compatible with, and a lot more. Then I'll see you in this video. I love you. Bye. Mwah.